Okay, so good everyone, and welcome back to my YouTube channel. My name is David, and in our video today I'll be showing you how to do this particular animation in Figma, and I think it's going to be one among the exciting video you see on the internet. Okay, so without any further ado, let's just get picking. At the cost of my quest of going and browsing through very powerful AI websites, I was doing a lot of research lately on the websites, or better still AI websites. At the cost of, with the love and the affection I have for super AI websites, the likes of Hulu and some other websites you must have seen on my YouTube video lately, I stumbled on this part of the website when I was going through a documentation from Alex, which happens to be the founder of the agency that designed the Hulu website and some other cool websites. They are still the same guy that designed this very one, and when I was browsing through the website, I saw a lot of interactions. Anyway, you can see from using the over effect, or better still, the scrolling effect from here down to this other part here, going downward, and I see a lot of things so amazing about this website. But the part I actually got to me so well is this particular emphasis here. So when I was looking at the whole thing, I was like, is it possible that we can make this thing from Figma? And in much of my trials, I think I got it. And this is the whole exploration, which I actually want to share all of the process with you. Either you want to learn how to do that, or you want to learn some other cool things around how to achieve all of these things, just in case you want to use that to enhance your design, or better to change your game. I'll be breaking down all of these components even in the subsequent video on how to achieve all of these things, and I think it's very good thing that we are learning it together. So in case this is your first time coming to this channel, I will encourage you to just like and leave a subscribe button so that you can get updates on videos whenever I drop them. And without saying much, I think let's just get into it. So I'll be breaking down all of those things I did, and I'll be repeating the whole process again so that you can learn from scratch. So I picked the screenshot using my sniping tool from the website for me to really see the color combination and to create even more realistic texture for it. So I have mine here, as you can see, and if I zoom in, you can see that there's still a lot of details revolving that particular depth created inside where the light is going to travel through. And together with all of these things I had it anyway, it's just more light, and I think I talk about the lighting stuff in one of my videos lately. So you can see more of that on my YouTube channel. So the first thing I did here was to create a frame, and the dimension of my frame is 552 by 627. And having created a frame, I went further to pick the colors. In my case, I use this particular two colors here, which I'm going to bring outside so that we can get the color code. Let's say we have two rectangles where I can document the colors. I'll click on this one I have here. This very one here. I'll pick this color first. Pick the color here, and I'll do the same thing for the other one here. Okay, so these are the two colors I combine, but then I use a gradient, and the type of gradient color or the gradient fill I use here is more like the radial. So at the middle, I was able to use the lighter version of this color here, and at the outer part of it, I use the darker color. So I'll pick that same thing like this. So this is the first thing I did, and I think I love the outcome. Then I went further to add a little bit of, I think I added a noise, but then I took it off when I discovered that it's too much. So let me break down the layer. Let's see what we have. Okay, so I have a texture, and I think if you are very consistent with my video, there's one of my video when I was explaining the Hulu breakdown, I did a link to a texture, and I'm also leaving a link to the texture on this video just in case you haven't gotten that particular material or added it to your sidebar on your Figma account. And the one I'm using currently is the texture from that same resources, and this is what I have. If I should turn on my blend option, I think this is the texture. So what I did was to bring it inside of the frame, and I also map it around definitely. Okay, so I haven't done that with the color gradients, and I think it's looking so cool from what I actually want to achieve. The next thing I did, was able to work with this guy, this texture. Now, if you was very conversant with my video, there was one of my video I was breaking down the Hulu website, and I made mention of a particular resources called the Wow texture, and you can see the link of that particular resources under the video. And just in case you are not seeing that as well, I'm dropping the link to the texture, pattern, and a lot of other things even in the video here. Credit to Wow. It's a YouTube channel anyway, you guys need to check it out. So what I did here was to just make a duplicate of this texture, and without the blending option filter, this is what it looks like. What I did was to drag it inside and just make sure that everything snaps to the contents. Just in case you are bringing it for the first time, you may have a situation whereby it becomes more bigger compared to what you intend to do. So in that kind of situation, I will encourage you to hold down the Shift key and the alternative key to just do the more like a very perfect resizing. And if you want to have the precise one, you need to hold down only the Control key to adjust that part. And when you are done with all of those things, you may want to just blend it in using the blending option. You click on the appearance here. You keep scrolling until you find something that resonates with what you want to do. So you may choose to use multiply. You may choose to use something else. I think in my own case, I use something like an overlay. But then let's try out some other things like other styles, what we've not used before. And I think I love this one I have here, which is multiply, but I think it's too dark. So just keep trying out until you see the one perfectly fitting into what you want to achieve. In my own case, overlay actually works, but just in case you pick out some other texture outside the one I'm using in this video, encourage or be sure to check out the blending option so that you can see the one that really works based on the color combination and what you want to achieve. After doing that, the next thing I did was to add a text, and the name of the text here is slash. According to what I have here, I have slash API enabled, and the name of the font I'm using is Terrible Sans Pro. So you can check it out on Google, or better still, just in case you can't really find the font, you can tell me and I will leave the link to download the fonts in the video description too as well. Or better still, I can drop it in the comments, anyone. So I have it done, and the font size I use is 16 or better still 18. It all depends on how bold you want it to be. Then I added it as auto layout, of course, and I was able to add a little bit of padding here and padding there just to give us what we want. I added a fill option, then let me sample the color from somewhere around there too as well. And I added a full corner radius to make it more rounded, definitely. But then I just took a little of the color. I'll shake the color a little bit to give us a lighter variations of the color, which is far better or different compared to what we have from the background. But a quick fix is going to be me sample the color from what I already had done. So I think that works for me, and I was able to just give it a little bit of corner, but that's the padding and so. So in order for it to save our time, I'll copy this icon and paste the icon inside of this place here. So we have it to be the gap is set to 4 and every other thing looks intact. And I make sure that this thing is sitting at the center of my frame, of course. So let me reduce this a little bit, and the next thing I did was to add a stroke. So this time around, the stroke, I use the gradients, and the gradients implies that I want to add a little bit of light from the top, and from the bottom I want to add a little bit of shadow. So to add the light, I click on the stop and I give it kind of this white color, of course, but then I have to drop that a little bit until it's just moderate. And at the bottom part of the gradient, I added I don't know the color, but then let me just sample the color I added there, something like this, and I reduce the opacity to 0 because the idea is just to make sure that the light is perceived at the top more, something like this. Then it's taken out from the bottom. So that's what I had done, and I think if it doesn't really make any sense, that's because I've not added the shadow yet. Okay, so let's add the shadow. For us to add the shadow, I think I found this particular plugin so useful these days, and I think I'm also recommending that to you too as well. The name of the plugin is called Beautiful Shadows. I've tried it multiple times and I think it works so well. So I'm using the Beautiful Shadow. All I need to do is to drag down, and you can just decide where you want it to be. In our case, we want it to go farther, at least Then when you're done, you click on apply. Now it may not give you exactly what you're looking for, because beautiful shadow is a soft shadow, so it doesn't really have that harsh and very strong shadow. But just in case you want to add something more stronger compared to what you are seeing now, our shadow is very light. You can click on it and add manual shadow here by clicking on the effect, drop shadow, then make sure you set all of this value, give it a little bit of blur, and you can even increase the opacity of the black here down to what you are looking for, and make it darker a little bit and give it a blur value until you get exactly what you're looking for. So I'm going to just leave it this way, and I think this way it works so well for what we want to achieve. Then when I'm done with all of these things, I think I'm done with that part. So nothing big, nothing more, but then I think my stroke, I want to change the value to 1.5 to make it more perceived compared to just making it just tiny. Okay, so the next thing I want to do is to draw the stroke. So I already draw one of the straight one, then I will draw one of the curved ones as well. Then we're going to apply the same effect we apply them, so that we can go into the other part of the video, which is prototyping. Okay, to draw that, I have what I did was to have, is it a rectangle? So let's use a tiny rectangle. I'll draw across this part here. You can either use a rectangle or better to use a stroke, but in my case I think rectangle works. Let me see what I did here. Rectangle too as well, so I think the rectangle works. Okay, so I have the rectangle, and I'm going to just reveal what I did there. A very quick way for you to get this thing done is to add effects. But mind you, let the color of the rectangle be somehow similar to what you already have here. Even though you are making it darker, at least it's just for the purpose of what we want to use it to do. So let's go darker a little bit. Something like this works. And the next thing you're going to do is to add a fill. In our case, we're going to add inner fill and not a drop shadow. Inner fill in the sense that you want to add this color. Is it white? White, right? Then you do a little bit of tweaking up and down until you get what you are looking for. So it can be kind of time consuming. Let me see. Okay, I think we are making a lot of sense. So in our case, I'm going to just inspect what I already did. Let's see what really works here. So in our case, we have the rectangle and we have inner shadow 2 of the inner shadow. The first one is 054 and the other one is 054. So let's plug it in. 054, right? And the other one is what? I can't remember the number again, so let me inspect. 01414. So I'll click on it again, and this time around inner shadow is 014. So one more thing you have to just consider is that you have to check out the color they use here. So I was able to copy the color code for both of them, and let's plug in the color. This is the color, and let me see if I can work on the opacity. So the more we keep increasing this, the more it's appeared, right? And let me see what I can do here too as well. Okay, let me see. That's too much. Okay, let me just click on this to save our time. I'll click on these two guys and let me make duplicates, delete the effects and paste them. So if you zoom in, you will see dark cuts inside. I think they are the same thing, and that's how you can do these two things. So the moment you spend your time trying to get that bevel, in fact there are some instances you may want to give it a light. For example, let's give it a drop shadow, but in our case this time around we are so concerned about the light. So the light goes this way, and we now move the position, not the X but the Y. Just want a little bit of light, but just in case it doesn't work, we may need to drop this and start tweaking until we find what we are looking for. But that's not what we want to do today. So just to save our time, we have the two lines showing at the center, and here I'll just move it to be at the center of these guys. One more thing you have to keep in mind is that let's make a duplicate outside, so that just in case we want to copy any other effect or any other settings, we can easily come here to copy that. So these two, we can group them together. They are sitting at the center of this very frame. You can click on the frame to add an effect, and in our case, we are going to add a little bit of noise just to give it a little bit of texture, like that kind of feeling. And just in case you are new to this, you don't have to give it that more. You just want to give it something very soft, and if possible, reduce that a little bit, or you can even do the duo, which is going to be let me see, the more you keep reducing that, the more it keep giving you something. But then this is multi, so I will just do this one here, yeah, then take this one up a little bit and reduce this guy to 1. I think this way it works for what we want to use it for. Just something soft, so you don't have to add more. I think between 20 to 25 should be a very good value. So the next thing I'm going to do is I can delete this one. I don't really need them anymore. So if you zoom in, you get to see this. And if I think it's too much, you can click on the frame, go back to the noise and reduce this guy. Okay, so I'm using 10 now. I think it's fair. So to get this curve, what I did was to actually draw using a pen tool, but then you can draw using any of the two. But then let me draw what they have here. Okay, let's say we have this, we have this, we have this, we have this, and we have this. So it could be like this, and we're still maintaining that details. So if I should press Ctrl key, you can give it a curve, but that's not what we want to do. I think in our case, we can give these guys a curve, and we can get something closer to what they have. So let's check until we are sure that the width we added is the same thing as the one we have here. So I think 5 should be okay. I'll click on this guy to copy this effects, and I'll paste the effects here too as well. Does it work? Not yet, until we copy the same color here. Let's see, stroke. Okay, it now worked. So let me drop that to 4.5. Okay, so you can turn off this and you can see the curve. There's a bevel, like there's a depth inside. So that is where the line, or better still, the light is going to pass through. So you may want to like repeat that same thing to get the other part, which is more like you flip it the other way around to get this other part here, just to have what we have here too. Anyway, but then the idea is just to use one first, then I'll keep one again because I'll be using that for the prototyping as well. So in this case, we are done with that. The next thing we're going to have is to have a frame, and the frame this time around is going to be let's go with the black. So I'm going to just copy the radial color code, the same thing we have earlier on. I'll paste that, and then I'll give it a corner radius too as well. In our case, I'm using 20, or better say 16 is fine, but I think 12 is perfect. Okay, then you can now reduce that if that's your goal, or you can increase that if that's what you want to do, depending on what you want to do. But in my case, I'm going to reduce that a little bit, making sure it stays at the center of my frame. Then one more thing I'm going to do, I'm going to make a duplicate of this. Let's say this is this guy. What I'll do here is to click on it and change the effect to glass. So I think we have glass now, so you can change all of the light setting, and you can adjust all of these things if that's what you want to do, and give it a little bit of frost if that's what you want to do as well. So I'll go over to let me see, do I have any logo here? Okay, I think I have a logo, so I'll just copy this logo. Okay, I don't really have a logo here. Okay, so let's just copy Meta logo here. Can copy that. Okay, let me see if I can copy this logo. Okay, I have it here, which is fine. I'll press Ctrl G to group, and I'm going to draw a rectangle. Rectangle with the same dimension here, 1, 3, 1313, right? That's fine. And I'll give you the same corner radius. In our case, it's going to be 12. Then I will copy the fill option of this color down to this very environment, and I'll move a copy of this logo inside. Actually, it's not a frame, so it's not going to be inside, it's going to be at the top. So I'll press the Ctrl Shift and curly brace brackets open. Close brackets to bring the logo to be at the top of the shape. I'll make sure that two of them are perfectly sitting at the center of each other. Then I'll go back to the Boolean operation, which I'm going to do subtract. So it's a way to actually cut out the logo, which I'm going to bring back here, and I have it this way. Okay, so the other thing I was able to do here is to add light inside. I'll just click on this guy first. I'll just right click and flatten the whole thing, so that I don't really want the situation, but if I'm moving this whole thing, then the subtract is moving too as well. In our case, I'm going to draw an ellipse shape. It's going to be inside here, and I'm going to give it a fill yellow if need be. Come to the effect and give it a layer block. Increase that dimension a little bit until it's spread, and make another duplicate here, Ctrl D, to change the blending option to something between the light, screen, lighter, and so. But in that case, I'm going to use plus lighter, and I'll press Ctrl D one more time to even do more, which I'm going to increase the value here more until it actually spread. So all of this one is going to be inside of the frame, but this one is going to come over like this here at the top of the frame. And the reason why we even have all of this light in the first place, let's group them together and let's call them light beneath logo. Light beneath logo. And I'll just move it a little bit, making sure it stays at the center of that very environment. So I think we are making a lot of progress, right? And the next thing I'm going to do, you can change the color of the lights if you want to. For example, you can change it to, that is too much. You can change it this way, something closer to what we are looking at. Yeah, something like this. So the next thing I want to do is to add the same color here, but instead of creating something from scratch, I'm going to just hold down one of them. I'll drag it outside, then bring it inside to stay inside of the frame. I may need to reduce the blur value here, and if need be, I will need to do that twice, and also to group these two together, Ctrl G, which I can reduce here, and I need to send it to the back. So I'll click on it, press Ctrl, curly open bracket, take it to the back, and I also do the same thing to this side here. I may need to even click each of them to just make sure that I apply more spread value, and you keep on doing that until you get your perfect twist. You can even bring some to be at the top of the frame just to create that light effect, and you can even increase all of this value here until you get your desired result. So you keep on going on and on, but the idea is just to create illumination of light around that particular glass effect, whereby it shows beneath, also shows above that particular shape. I mean the one I added subtract to. So I'll repeat the same thing here, and this one I think is too much, which I'm going to drop down a little bit, and you can change the angles. I'm doing the diagonal. You can do more things here depending on what you want to achieve anyway, but something similar to what we already have. If you feel like the light is not enough, you can press Ctrl D to make more duplicates. So the more the light is being added on top of each other, the broader the whole thing works. Like the more shiny the light appear, that kind of thing. So I think I'm done with that, and I think it's okay, more cool. So I'm done with all of the lights. You may want to add lights beneath this part. Send it to be at the bottom and let it drive down. You can use your navigation key to just move it downward, and you can even apply more blur here, because the goal of this light is to definitely go more blurry, more blur. Let me see. Am I clicking on the right light? As I move this guy outside. Okay, I think I made a mistake. This guy, the lights should be at the top. Yet I cannot spread it more. Okay, then you can go back to the center and you can repeat the same thing here. If you want to drop the opacity, you can use the keyboard 1 to 0 to adjust the opacity value from 1 to 100. So I'm dropping that to 60. I'm also dropping this to maybe 50 or 40, just to create a little bit of light around where the light shines on top of the logo. If you want to, you can add more corner radius to that logo and also to the glass effect. But in the case of this video, I'm going to just leave it that way so that we can move into the prototype. So speaking of the prototype, there is a little bit trick or something that we needed to do right this time around. And the first thing I'm going to do is to bring in one of these outside. Yeah, right? So I'll move this light here. I'll make sure that the light stays at the top, on top of that long rectangle. And what I'm going to do next is to just select both of them together, and I'm going to use as mask. So this is used as mask. Most times you don't get to see that because it's going to take away the shape. The only thing you have is you're seeing the light as you travel inside. So speaking of the lights, I will add one more light here by pressing Ctrl D to create more lights, and I'm going to just make it travel far away as far as I want. But all of these lights, we already group them together here, so we call them light travels. Okay, so what I'm going to do here is this is the layer mask group. I'm going to make duplicates of this mask group. So let's say this is the starting mask. Then I'll make a duplicate here. So the next one, which is called Ctrl D, and I'll bring it downward a little bit, and this is called the finishing mask. Okay, from the starting, you may want to you use your layer more here anyway. You click on the light that travels, you use your navigation key to take it outside so that you don't even get to see it at all, right? But then it's still inside of the mask. While here on the finishing mask, you take the light that travels and you take it farther away to the other extreme parts, so that when it travels, it will begin from here and end up somewhere. So when you have these two, you select both of them together and you will go and create them as component sets. So let's call this one the bar light or light bar, not a curved one. And I'm going to pick the first one here, which I'm going to go over to the prototype option. I'll connect it to the second one. Okay, this is the second one here. Mind you, you are not seeing it, but then just paint the picture that they are there. Yes. Okay. Then the prototype setting is going to be after delay at 800 milliseconds. Let's do smart animate for this 300. Let's see what we have. Then I'll connect this one back to it. Okay, this time around it's going to be after delay, the same thing, but it's not going to be smart, it's going to be instant. Okay, so 800. Let's see what we have. For us to test run this whole thing, what we need to do is to bring one of these whole things like this light bar, then bring it inside of this very environment. Make sure we take it to the bottom, like when I mean bottom, I mean bottom. So let's compare that with this shape. Light bar, we should be at the top, or we can make it a group. But then I'll hold down Shift key to select these two guys together. The light bar we just added, and also the one there already. The one we added is invincible, so you don't get to see that anyway. But the best thing we can do is to position them exactly the right place so that the whole thing is going to work. So I'll use this navigation or this alignment button to just tap it to the left hand side so that they can be on the same thing, and I'll use the align to the top to move it to the top. So I've been able to do that one, and let's check what we've been able to do. Okay, you can see that it actually works, but the light, or better still the speed, is too fast. So let's go back to the prototype setting and let's see how we can reduce that. Delay here, I'm going to change that delay to 1.5. 1500, and let's see this to 1500 too as well. Okay, so let's check it out and see. Okay, I think that's thing is too still fast. So what I'll do here, let's do this 500, and let's do this one 1 2. But this other one here, we'll do it 1 2. But let's do this 800, and let's see what we have. Okay, so this one is fine. The next thing we're going to do, we're going to copy one more of this and take it to the other part of this guy here. Or let me just undo that. Let me go over to this part, make another duplicate, Ctrl D, and this time around make sure that the whole thing works based on this. Now there are instances whereby you needed to change the whole thing. The reason why you needed to change the value is because why? You don't want the light to travel the same time, right? So what you need to do here, instead of you doing that, I'm going to just undo. Okay, I'm going to undo. Then I'll go over here. I'll make a duplicate of this component. Here is going to be light bar return. Let me put it away. Returns. Let's go. Okay, this time around, what you needed to do is that you are changing the timing. So I'll come over to the prototype option, delay here. Let's make this one to be 800 to make it very slow, and let's make this one to be let's make it to be 500. Then take a piece and move it up here. Light returns, right? Let it snap in with this guy. Check from the left and from the top. Then that's what we have. Okay, so it's keep on looping and different timing. Now you get to set all of this value based on what you want to achieve, and the more you do that, definitely the more the whole thing works. So let's do the last one and let's see what we have. Here we just need only one. So the same thing we did here, the same thing we are doing here. I'll move this guy here, and I'm going to just steal from the lights. Initially we have from the light bar, I will click on the light travels, Ctrl C. I'll come over here. I'm going to paste the lights and I'll just drag it outside. Okay, yeah, that works. Select both of them together, and what I'm going to do here, I'm going to add them as mask. Then from here, let's give it a name and let's call this one curve light. Okay, the curve lights, I'll make a duplicate of this. So I'll click on this and I'll press Ctrl G to make another duplicate. Another duplicate, Ctrl D. Then this one is going to be curve light return, right? Okay, that works. Here you break down you open the group, and this light that travels, you want to move it far away that it will not be seen. Of course, it will not be seen. It will not be seen. Then this other part, the one that returns, the light bar is going to travel based on the path. So based on the path, okay. Okay, something like that. Then you select both of them together too as well. You also create them as component sets. Then for the first one here, you want to connect the prototype of this guy, okay, to this, and we are still using after delay 800. This time around it's going to be smart animate, and 800 is fine here. 1 2 is fine here too as well. Then we return the whole thing back to the former place, which is this time around is going to be instance, and it's going to be after delay here together with, let's say, 1000. So we pick one of it and we can return back to the design tab. This time around, we want to snap it with this guy. So what we're going to do is to snap it to be at the top. Hopefully it works, right? So that's what we have. Okay, so it works, right? So let me just fix one or two things. This guy, the one we just added now, which is the components, and let me see, and this guy, the components, let me bring it outside, and this one, I'll snap them to be at the top, then also press Ctrl G to group them so that I can make a duplicate at the top and flip vertical, let me see, and send it to be at the back. So I'll press Ctrl curly open brackets until it travels to the back or move to the back, or you can use the layer option to do the same thing here. The same thing I will do here. And if you want to, you can increase the size of the logo, but if you don't want to, this is what we now have. So basically that is how to actually achieve that. I think something is wrong. One travel at the top. So this guy, let me downward a little bit, and this guy, light bar supposed to be somewhere here, group, okay, and it's going to marry this guy here. Just a little fixes and I think you are done with the whole thing. So basically that's how to achieve the video, that's how to create this particular prototype. And I think the whole thing works because based on the fact that you assign a very good timing and you set up the timing value, you're going to get a lot of repetition, and Smart Animate together with after delay is a kind of setting that is going to repeat and keep on repeating based on the timing. So you can never tell exactly how to actually do, like, how the timing works. It works based on the progression of your setting, and I think it's a very cool thing. Though it may not be accurate but then it's closer to what we are hoping to achieve. So with few tweaks and few dealings, you will get exactly what you are looking for. So that is how to actually achieve that prototype. And if I increase this a little bit, this is what we get to see. Okay, so that'll be all in this video. My name is David, and in case this is your first time seeing my video, I will encourage you to like and subscribe, because I'll be coming up with more subsequent and more helpful video for a designer, definitely a product designer, and I hope it's something you want to watch, something you want to learn. I hope to see you at the other side. So thank you and peace out.